30 seconds left. You're done.
Did you tell me that was just a test? Testing? I mean, I may have, did you know who I am? Yeah. No, I did not do that actually. I was in my life while I'm waiting for him to write me. She's like, did you tell her that's what you do work? And I said, no. I said, we'll see what happens. Fortunately, he was very polite. He just gave me one. Coming home today, I was much more. Well, I'm going to because I don't want to encourage you to do the morning, a very stern face. No, I mean,
Yeah, because it's not the official report. It's the narrative of it. There's some names in there.
my personal means, I guess, but master, he's almost he's going to do anything stupid.
Yeah.
You got this down? Yeah.
Keep an eye on the company here.
We're sitting here.
Good evening and welcome to the Monday, December 9th, 2024 meeting of the Martinsville Board of Works and Safety. Meeting is hereby called to order. Mr. Meredith, would you please call the roll?
Kelly Bray.
Present.
John Lillywhite.
Present.
Mayor Costin.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Prior to tonight's meeting, you received a copy of the Monday, November 25th meeting minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
And I will second that motion. Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed no. The motion carries. Police Chief Rick Lang would like to give a presentation this evening. Chief Lang.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I believe that you got a copy of the report, the end of the year report that highlights what we've accomplished in the last year.
You've been very busy.
Yes, we have been very busy, and as I told our officers at the start of the year, this year, that I didn't want to be able to recognize ourselves internally within a year, and I think we're well on our way of accomplishing that. As far as presentation goes, I don't want to take up a lot of time. I know there's an IU game tonight,
Yeah.
you know, but, you know.
Yeah, Purdue played yesterday, though.
Yeah, did they? And how'd they do?
Well, they won.
Did they? Well, I don't know about IU, but anyway, with regard to the list that was provided, as far as accomplishment goes, if there's any questions or inquiries that you want to make of that list?
I did, actually.
Sure.
It's not completely related to this, but I noticed that you hired 5, I think, if I'm going off my faulty memory, 5 new officers?
7, actually.
7, okay, very faulty. So I'm really excited for the Martinsville Police Department. There are a lot of changes that are happening. Aside from what you've implemented, I mean, there's a new police station that's almost done. So historically, and I would say we're a smaller town, we're not a small town.
Right.
But historically, places like this have been training grounds for young officers and young firefighters.
Right.
And then they, leave and go to a bigger, higher paying department. How do we rank there? Are our officers excited enough and being paid well enough and all of that to not use us as a training ground and maybe use us as a place where they want to retire?
We have lost, in my tenure here, since November 1 of 23, we've lost 1 officer to a lateral transfer to another agency, 1. We had some that were considering doing that, but decided to stay. We haven't lost any of those. We lost 1, I think, through retirement, which obviously happens, maybe not to me.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. So he retired. So the additional officers was just to get us back up to speed because we were down before.
Sure.
And if you look at the FBI statistics for a city this size, we are still down 6 to 8 in their opinion.
Okay.
But we are flush with what is on the manning table for the budget. That what we are budgeted, in other words.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we are an attractive place for them to be. And I know in law enforcement and fire, oftentimes it's so difficult to get onto a department that,
Correct.
if somebody says, come here, you say, okay, I don't care what you'll pay, and then work your way out of a situation.
And we've done some things to combat that as far as officers leaving, going to another agency. And part of that is designing a career path, and if you look, read that in there, restructuring the department. So, if you want to go up the ranks, you could only go through the ranks in uniform. I would like to make the detective position the sergeant's position. So if you don't want to go up the ranks, at least you could get a sergeant's rank in a detective, because I think the detective's position warrant that. And also we, as you saw in the report, we gave some stipends to some of the officers for their specialty pay, such as SWAT and public information officer. Canines also had it, and other positions there as well, so we want people to step up and take on additional responsibilities, but what do they get for that? I mean, we don't give everybody rank. I don't like a top-heavy department.
I don't hear it now.
Good evening and welcome to the Monday, December 9th, 2024 meeting of the Martinsville Common Council. Meeting is hereby called to order. Mr. Meredith, would you please call roll?
John Badger,
Present.
Susie Lips, Ben Mahan,
Present.
Josh Barron,
Present.
Ann Miller, Phil Deckard Sr.,
Present.
Phil Deckard II.
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. This evening, I would like to invite Pastor Jeff Floyd from M1 Church to come and offer tonight's invocation. So if you would, please stand and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our precious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity we have to gather here tonight in our town of Martinsville. We thank you for this city and what you're doing and what you're going to do. We thank you for this time of year where we're reminded of the greatest gift of all, Jesus Christ. I ask that you will just watch over this meeting. Thank you for the officers who are going to be recognized tonight, for our first responders, those who put their life on the line every day to make our community safe. Just bless this meeting and help us to go where you want us to go. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Prior to tonight's meeting, you were given minutes from the Monday, November 25th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I move the minutes be approved as distributed.
I'll second.
Been a motion made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
I will
Motion passed.
abstain.
Okay, with one, 4 yeas, 1 abstain.
Thank you.
In your packet, you have a list of all the meeting dates for next year. There's 2 that will be on Tuesday, and they are highlighted in red. So if you would, please get those on your calendars. 2025 is just around the corner. Also, the Planning Commission has had a couple of volunteers that will work with 3 councilmen on the sign ordinance. We'll try to get an email out so everybody can get on the same page after the first year so you can get together and work on that. Also, just to give everyone a heads up, we are still working on our parking ordinance. There's a lot of the streets here in the city that we've asked the fire and the police to go out and look at that we may need to change some of our parking. The way we're looking at doing this is once we get everything put together, we'll give it to each councilman, councilperson. You'll need to go out and check your area, and then we'll have a couple of town hall meetings inviting the public coming in. We'll have maps available explaining what we're going to be doing. So this is something that's not going to happen probably until March or April, but just give you a heads up that it is coming. And also, I believe it was in Thursday's paper that last Monday at the county commissioners meeting, it was announced that the Humane Society Animal Control has given us a 30-day notice that they're not going to be providing that service. Again, we've been working with the county to come up with an animal control policy that would go throughout the entire county. We're still working on that. We've talked with the Humane Society, and again, we're hoping to be able to keep conversation going, but as soon as we know something, we'll get that back to you also. Mr. Meredith, you got a clerk's report?
Yes, I'll be brief. So just want to give the council an update and then go over the handouts that I just gave you just a few minutes ago. So we're working on closing down the year 2024 financially and then getting the year 2025 ready to roll. The budget has been submitted to the DLGF for 2025. Met with our DLGF rep this morning. Everything looks very positive, so I expect a full acceptance of our 2025 budget. Right now, the packets I gave you earlier, it was mentioned in our budget workshop. There's a request on having a 5-year rolling expenditure and receipt. So this document is that. So I want to kind of get that in your hands early. Obviously, this year's still going, so that'll show the budget this year, the year-to-date expenses and revenues. The goal going forward will be when we have our budget workshop next year is you'll actually have a third column that wasn't previously in the spreadsheet that you'll be given. So you'll have the previous year's approved budget, and then you'll also have the previous year's expenditures for the year. So our goal is to transition from basing our budgets on the previous year's budget to basing our budget on the previous year's expenses. And actually using actual budgetary information as opposed to going off of a pre-approved budget. So the hope is we'll catch some errors that maybe we've had throughout the years and also get things a little bit more accurately displayed and appropriated. So I just want to kind of give you a heads up on that. You'll be seeing 3 columns in the update in the upcoming workshop. As far as the budget, an update on this year's, it does look like we are going to hit our 2% request and our goal to put 2% back in our general fund at the end of the year. And so that was our goal with the departments, and it looks like we're going to be able to hit that goal. So that's really good news. So also the transition to the new software is going very, very well. We're actually a couple months ahead of schedule. However, that may change as you go through any type of big transition like this. There can be hiccups along the path, but it's going very, very well so far. So, happy to answer any questions that you may have. And if you do come across questions on this report that I gave you, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. You all have my cell phone number. So, and if you want things more finally clarified or labeled differently, let me know on that too, because the more feedback we get in the next few months, the better, because the idea is to have it pretty much nailed down to the format that you want before the budget workshop next year.
Any questions for Mr. Meredith? I'd like to thank you and your office for all the work that you're doing and giving us more information that will help us tremendously when we come to our budget workshop.
Thank you.
Chief Lang?
Good evening, council, and Merry Christmas to the council and Mr. Mayor. Tonight's going to be a fun night. It might be a little bit lengthy. I've got some reading to do, and I'm going to try to expedite it because as I told the Board of Works, that there's an IU game out there, and I don't know who's IU fan and who are not, but there is a game, and I'm aware of that. So I'd like to start tonight, start out with a question for us to consider. When the thought of a police officer enters our minds, what image do you see? Do you see an unreasonable officer giving you a traffic ticket when you are sure a warning would have sufficed? Do you see an officer just hanging around at the nearest Dunkin' Donuts? Or do you see a racist who is eager to enforce the law on someone who doesn't look like they do or share the same values? Those images are not wrong. as all those images do exist in the real world, although I hope that they are not predominant in our minds. However, this evening, I want to speak briefly about a word that is not often associated with law enforcement: compassion. The Dalai Lama once said, quote, "Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive," end quote. The English writer and Puritan preacher John Bunyan wrote this in the 1600s, quote, "You have not lived today until you have done something for someone who can never repay you," end quote. The punitive side of law enforcement is often seen and spoken about. However, the compassionate side of law enforcement is rarely spoken of, even though those acts of compassion happen all the time. So tonight, with your indulgence, I would like to highlight the compassionate side of law enforcement, if I may. Also, starting out tonight, longevity might not have a lot to do with compassion, but you can assure that somebody that has 20 years on the department has exhibited compassion along the way. And I know that is true as Officer Lachelle Maurer, who has reached 20 years. I came across this report. It was brought to my attention just last week. And again, I think it exemplifies the compassion of our law enforcement officers here in Martinsville. Officer Gerkens and Officer Webb, would you please take a position right here? Investigation narrative. I, Officer Gerkens, and Officer Webb responded to a citizen's assist at McDonald's on 12/4/24. Caller stated that he was homeless, and due to the weather, he had minimal clothing and belongings, and was hoping to find an emergency shelter. Officers arrived to meet the caller, identified as Dustin. He had on jeans, Converse tennis shoes, and a winter jacket with a ball cap. The weather was in the low 30s with high winds, making it feel like it was in the teens. The caller said he was 10 days sober from narcotics and was hoping to find a shelter so that he could stay the night and get to another recovery center in the morning. I did not suspect that Dustin was currently on any illegal narcotics. He did have a grandmother in the area, but they were not well acquainted enough for him to stay there. Officer Webb and I attempted to make contact with any type of shelter near the area, but came up with negative results. I asked Dustin how his financial stability was, and he stated that he was broke and did not have any money. After talking with Dustin and getting to know his story a little, I made a decision to try to help him. I called the Royal Motel to see if they had any new vacancies, and they replied that they did have open rooms. Due to the inclement weather, very low temperatures, and Dustin's clothing attire, along with the redness of his hands from the cold, I was worried about his well-being in the weather. I escorted Dustin over to the Royal Motel and purchased a room for him for the night. I did explain to him that my willingness to help him should not be taken for granted. Dustin was very appreciative, and Officer Webb offered him food that Dustin took as well. Officer Webb also explained to him to use the resources from the hotel to contact recovery centers to get back into rehab and continue to better himself. Dustin was released on his own recognizance and all units marked in service. Nothing further. Well, yes, there is something further. Thank you very much. Okay. Officer Weaver. Same position.
We at least have each other. We're gonna stay up here alone.
This is going to highlight, we get to have a little bit of a movie night. I'm trying to talk into the mic. But because of onboard cameras and body cams, there's going to be evidence about what I'm just about to talk about for the next 2 sessions, okay? So after this, Ben, oh, there you are.
I'm short, so I hide easily.
After I read this, then you can cue it, okay? This is on August 28th at approximately 7 p.m., Officer Michelle Weaver was traveling south on I-69, returning home from a prosecutor's legal update at Mooresville PD. Were you on duty?
I was on my way home.
Yeah, but you were already marked off, hadn't you?
I don't remember.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that you had marked off, and this is also, you sometimes hear the argument about take-home cars. This is a good example of why you should have that. She had just crossed over into Monroe County, nearing the Sample Road exit, when she observed a truck pulled off onto the shoulder. There were several people surrounding what appeared to be an individual lying flat on the ground, with another performing what appeared to be chest compressions. So she found a crossover and flipped around to assist. Once Officer Weaver was able to make contact, she learned that 2 males had been traveling in the truck together when the passenger went limp. The driver pulled over, drug him out of the truck, and started performing CPR. There were several bystanders as well. Due to the experience in observing the scene, Officer Weaver inquired if the passenger had consumed any drug-related substance in the effort to determine if he was actively overdosing. The driver initially said no, but then said, Narcan, quote, might be a good idea, end quote. Officer Weaver retrieved a dose of Narcan from her patrol vehicle and administered it to the subject, who did have a pulse, but was blue and unresponsive. There was also an individual on the scene who said he was an EMT from the Spencer area. He lived nearby and was able to have someone bring another dose of Narcan from his residence, which Officer Weaver also administered to the subject because the first did not have a good effect. While waiting for responders from Monroe County to arrive, the driver of the vehicle started to show signs of overdosing as well, and was coming in and out of consciousness. Officer Weaver, excuse me, believes he was given Narcan as well. Once medics and Monroe County deputies arrived on scene, they were able to secure the vehicle and found what appeared to be several different types of drugs and drug paraphernalia inside. Officer Weaver hadn't noticed it at first, but she had been walking over a $100 bill laying on the ground near the subject. She almost picked it up until realized that there was a white powder substance folded inside. Officer Weaver pointed out to the deputies on the scene for them to handle. Both individuals were transported to nearby hospitals. The passenger had started to regain consciousness once he received oxygen. Officer Weaver stated, quote, "From my perspective, I was just doing my job. Several of us had administered Narcan on overdosing individuals in the past, probably dozens of times or more, and this situation was no different in my opinion. I am shocked and honored that I was even considered for recognition, not to even mention a life-saving award. Well, you're humble, and that's great, but you do deserve a life-saving award, so would you come up? This acknowledges that Officer Michelle Weaver has earned this award for actions taken on August 29th, 2024 to save the life of an individual. Congratulations and thank you for your life-saving actions while working with the Martinsville Police Department on this day, 12/9 of 24. Congratulations. Okay, Officer Pond and Officer Jackson. Oh, yeah, sorry. If you can show Michelle's video. This is Michelle Weaver's video from her onboard camera. Again, she's just heading home. Her day is done, she thought. Again, thank you, Officer Weaver, wherever you're at. You should be proud of us. they're still here because of you. You know, and not everybody gets to say that. But another thing that I think we should also be mindful of, that powder that was in that $100 bill could have killed her. Due to calls. But thank you again. Okay. This is Officer Pond's second life-saving award this year, right? Excuse me? It's true. It is. We all here are old enough to remember the Westerns on TV, you know, when they would put notches on their guns for the people they killed. He puts notches on his gun for the people he saved. On August 24th at approximately 1846 hours, wait a minute, I'm not in the right one here. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Morgan County deputies were dispatched to the area of I-69 north at the 143 mile marker in reference to a single car crash. Officer Pond was northbound from the 142 mile marker and responded. So the call went out originally to the county deputies, but you overheard the call, correct? And you were near, so he responds. Upon arrival, he observed the vehicle approximately 50 yards off the roadway, down the embankment, and smoking and on fire. A female that had stopped advised that there were people trying to get the driver out, but the driver was still inside the vehicle. Officer Pond made his way down the embankment to the vehicle and observed two male passerbys who had stopped to help, attempting to break the windshield. The vehicle was on the driver's side with the front facing southbound. There was a fire coming from the front end. Officer Pond observed the driver was laying in a ball on the passenger side window. The driver was covered in blood and appeared to be unconscious. Using a tool from his car, Officer Pond removed the windshield and with the assistance of the two bystanders, removed the driver from the vehicle and away from the car. The vehicle fire was intensifying. Reserve Officer Jackson assisted moving the male up the embankment and to the roadway. Officer Pond retrieved a medical bag from his car and attempted to clean some of the blood coming from the driver's mouth. At some point, fire and medical arrived on scene and took over. After some time, Officer Jackson advised that EMS needed someone to drive the ambulance due to all of them needing to be in the back of the ambulance working on the driver himself. So then Officer Pond volunteered to drive the ambulance to Methodist and arrived there safely without incident. So now we can cue that one.
Let them know we've got him out of the vehicle. Car's still on fire. Okay. Okay. All right. Jackson, get his legs. Sarah, have your hands on. Okay, get into the group. 1, 2, 3. Go on. You're doing okay, man. Hold up. Stay with me, man, okay? Stay with me.
Officer Jackson. From Rick Lang, Chief of Police, to Jeff Jackson, Reserve Officer, Martinsville Police Department. Subject, commendation. Reserve Officer Jackson, I, as Chief, want to take this opportunity to commend you for your actions that occurred on or about August 24th of 2024. On that date, you responded to the area of I-69 near the area of 143 mile marker due to a reported single vehicle crash. Upon arrival, you observed the vehicle approximately 50 yards down the embankment that was smoking and on fire. You then assisted Officer Pond and other bystanders in getting the driver, who was unconscious, out of the vehicle and up the embankment and out of immediate danger. It is an unfortunate fact that reserve officers do not get the credit that they deserve for the services that they provide to the city of Martinsville at no cost to the taxpayers via their salary, because there is none. However, on this day, I would like to commend you for your efforts in assisting Officer Pond on August 24th, which undoubtedly saved the life of the driver involved in a fire crash that day. Thank you for your selfless service to the city of Martinsville. Officer Pond. '24 Life Saving Award. This acknowledges that Officer Jared Pond has earned this award for actions taken on August 24th, 2024 to save the life of an individual. Congratulations and thank you for your life-saving actions while working with the Martinsville Police Department. Proud of you. This was the fun part of my job, is acknowledging the reality of compassion that our officers have. It's not often talked about, but it happens every day in one form or another. So, to all those officers and their families here, thank you, and the families especially, you know, because I know you worry about the officers that we have out there, and it's a tough life to be married or have a father or a mother that as an officer puts on uniform every day, and the risks that involve that go along with it. So thank you as well. Now turning to the accomplishments listed over the year as an year-end report. I think you guys got a copy of that in the council? Okay. As I stated to the officers last year, one of my goals was for us not to be able to recognize ourselves internally in a year. And I think we've accomplished that. That list of accomplishments that we've highlighted there is what we have, the steps that we have taken to make Martinsville City Police Department second to none. And that's not just in the county, but that's in the state. That's our goal, is we want to make this department as professional and as good as it can possibly be. And thanks to the taxpayers and you people on the council that have provided the things that make the job not easier, but safer and for the officers and enable them to do their job maybe more efficiently. Thank you as well. If you have any questions about that list, I'm here to entertain those.
Chief Lang, thank you, and thank you to all the officers for protecting our city. Stephen, I don't know if you want to get some pictures. Let's maybe take a break, because I know some of the officers probably need to get back out on patrol, and we need to move the TV, so we can take a break. If the ones that did receive an award, if you'd come forward, and Stephen, you can get the pictures up here. Chief, Deputy Chief, so you can help remind us who's getting one.
We got more coming down the stairs. Chief, thank you for allowing us to be part of the presentation for the officers. Thank you for your report and all the work that's going into your department. Next, Councilman Phil Deckard Sr. has some special presentations.
Approximately 2 or 3 years ago, we received some money from the state of Indiana, surplus money, and we put it to good use within our city. And during our budget workshops this year, the council decided we would like to set aside a certain amount that could be awarded to not-for-profit entities within our community. We set the money aside, had several applicants, and tonight we're going to make the presentation of financial awards. I'd like to ask the mayor to present the checks. As I call your name or your organization, please come up forward so our photographer can get a good picture. The committee appointed by the mayor consists of Councilman Deckard, Councilwoman Miller, and Councilman Farron. And our awards this year will go to the Martinsville Baseball Softball Organization. If you would come forward, please, if I have a representative here. Josh, you can stand in for them if there's no one here. Our next award went to the Martinsville Junior Football League. This is the first year that they were honored, so I'd like a representative of the Football League to come forward. John Martin and Tim Burnham. Another group we're equally proud of, the Martinsville Neighborhood Crime Watch. This is the first time we awarded them anything, and I'd like for Betty Chamberlain and your representatives to come forward, please. Our next award goes to the Veterans Memorial Park here on the southeast corner of the downtown square for the purpose of purchasing some 3,000 bricks. Kevin Kent will receive that award tonight for the Memorial Park. And I would encourage you, if you've not purchased a brick, to please do so in memory of a loved one, or perhaps in honor of your family, or any organization you'd like to name. See Kevin Kent. At our Martinsville Area Senior Center, they have some remodeling to accomplish there, including interior ceiling and air and heating, among other things. So let's give these recipients a nice round of applause, if you will. And again, if you would like to apply, do so in the month of September, October. Turn your recommendations into myself or any one of our committee members, and then we'll make the award sometime in November or December. We plan to do it again this coming year, 2025. So with that, Mayor, thank you very much.
No, thank you, and thank you for the committee that made this possible. Thank you. Prior tonight, you had received copies of the claims for review. Are there any comments or questions regarding the claims?
I'll make the motion to approve the claims as presented.
So, a motion made and seconded to approve the claims as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Any comments from the council this evening?
Mayor, I would like to say thank you, and I hope they continue and can hit all the stop signs. But this past year, they've been putting the long red reflector down the length of the sign, the stop signs, and I think that grabs the attention of the stop sign of much more than it already is. So I'd say thank you to the city crew for doing that and for getting that, and I'd like to see them be able to get all the stop signs in town.
Okay, I will pass that on to Mr. Lane.
Thank you.
Any comments from the public this evening? If there are none, just a reminder, we have our workshop this Thursday, December 12th, just discuss municipal buildings. Workshop will begin at 4 o'clock here in the council chambers. This is invited to the public. However, no public comment will be received during that time. Next regular meeting of the Common Council will be on Monday, December 23rd, beginning at 7 o'clock. Are there any members that know that they will not be able to make it at that point? So we should be good for a forum, okay? With no other business.
Mayor, I also forgot to say, I think this past weekend, our downtown Winterfest was fabulous. You might want to say, plug that. That was a wonderful event.
We've had 2 good weekends. The parade was a success. Talking to some of the merchants around downtown, the Small Business Saturday was a success. And yes, Saturday and Sunday, a lot of people out shopping and taking advantage of the Christmas tree lighting last night. This next Saturday, we have the cookie stroll, which it's sold out, but that doesn't mean you can't still come down and enjoy shopping in downtown. And then the following Sunday after that, we will have the candle lighting ceremony. It's Saturday night. Saturday, we'll have a candle lighting ceremony over at the venue. So with no other